Introduction: The Great Oscillation. Listen to this sound. Tick-tock, tick-tock. It is the sound of an old wall clock. It is hypnotic, it is constant, it is relentless. To the left, to the right, rise, fall. Excitement, depression, war, peace. Welcome to the heartbeat of reality. Welcome to the law of the pendulum. If you look at your life with brutal honesty, you will see that it looks a lot like that movement. One day you feel like the king of the world, your business prospers, your partner adores you, and you feel that you have finally arrived. And suddenly, without warning, the inertia changes. The car breaks down, the market collapses, a silly argument becomes a breakup. Joy turns to ash in your mouth. You ask yourself, why? What did I do wrong? Why has luck abandoned me? You did nothing wrong. You simply ignored physics. You have been sold the greatest lie of the modern era, the tyranny of the straight line. They have told you that life must be constant progress, perpetual growth, linear happiness. But in this universe, the straight line does not exist. Everything, from the atom to the galaxy, oscillates. The sea has tides, the day has night, the heart has systole and diastole. Attempting to live a life of only ups is like trying to inhale air eternally, without ever exhaling. The result is not happiness, it is suffocation. But there is something darker operating here. You're not only subject to natural rhythms, you are subject to artificial pendulums. Invisible energy structures exist. Political parties, fashions, economic crises, ideologies, collective fears that function like giant parasites. They feed on your emotional energy. They push you to the right, fanaticism, euphoria, only to let you go so that you fall violently to the left, disappointment, anger. They treat you like a puppet. They pull your emotional strings so that you react, so that you fight, so that you suffer. Because when you suffer and fight against reality, you generate the energy that they eat. This audiobook, The Law of the Pendulum, is your scissors. We are going to cut the strings. It is not a book to stop the movement of the world. That is impossible. The pendulum will always oscillate. It is a book to stop being the weight that is dragged from one side to another, and to become the axis that remains motionless and powerful in the center. You are going to learn the engineering of fate. You will learn why desiring something too strongly, excessive potential, guarantees that you lose it. You will learn to become invisible to energy vampires through the technique of indifference, and most importantly, you will learn to use the raw force of the pendulum to your advantage. Instead of letting the wave crush you against the rocks, you will learn to get on the board and use the wave's immense energy to propel yourself toward your goals. The tick-tock does not have to be a countdown to your destruction. It can be the music you dance to. Get ready. The movement is about to begin. Hold tight to the center. Chapter 1. Gravity and Rhythm, the Hermetic Principle. Everything flows and reflows. Everything has its periods of advance and retreat. Everything ascends and descends. Everything moves like a pendulum. The measure of its movement to the right is the same as the measure of its movement to the left. Rhythm is the compensation. The Kybalion principle of rhythm. For every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction. Isaac Newton, third law of motion. Look at the sea. Observe it closely. The waves rise with fury, break against the shore, foam, and then, inevitably, they retreat. If the sea only moved forward and never retreated, the earth would flood. Life would be impossible. Look at your own chest. You inhale, you take in air, you fill yourself with life, but you cannot inhale forever. A point of saturation arrives where, if you do not let the air out, you die. You must exhale. You must empty yourself in order to be able to fill yourself again. Life depends on that back and forth movement. Systole and diastole, day and night, summer and winter, birth and death, war and peace. Welcome to the law of rhythm. Welcome to the tyranny and the blessing of gravity. We live in a pendular universe. Nothing, absolutely nothing in this physical dimension is static. Absolute stability is synonymous with death. Only in the cemetery do things stop oscillating, and even then the atoms of the corpses continue to vibrate. However, you, a modern human being, have been educated under a false premise, a geometric lie that is the cause of 90% of your psychological suffering, the straight line. You have been taught to think of your life as an upward graph. You believe your economy must grow every year without stopping. You believe your relationship must maintain the intensity of the first month forever. You believe your state of mind should be a flat line of constant happiness and productivity. And when the pendulum, obeying immutable physical laws, begins to swing backward, you panic. You medicate yourself because you are sad, winter. You get divorced because the passion dropped, ebb. You close the business because there was a bad quarter, contraction. You fight against gravity, and gravity always wins. Today we are going to stop fighting against physics. We are going to understand the mechanics of the cosmic swing. The inevitability of the oscillation, the physics of fate. Imagine a swing in a park, or an immense pendulum of an old clock. For the pendulum to swing to the right, toward success, joy, expansion, it must first have accumulated kinetic energy by descending from the left. And once it reaches its highest point on the right, it stops for a microsecond and gravity forces it to fall back. It is not an error of the swing. It is its nature. The law of the pendulum dictates that reality unfolds in cycles. You cannot have a day without night. The consumer society tries to sell you an eternal summer. It sells you pills to not sleep, coffee to not get tired, entertainment to not get bored, and Instagram filters to not age. They are trying to stop the pendulum at the right extreme, the positive side. But the law of compensation is clear. The more you force the pendulum toward one extreme, the more violent the return toward the other will be. If you drink 5 coffees to be artificially euphoric and productive, forcing the pendulum to the right, the subsequent crash will not be normal fatigue. It will be a depressive exhaustion, the pendulum hitting the left with the same borrowed force. If you artificially inflate the value of stocks on the market, bubble, the crash will not be a smooth adjustment. It will be a financial catastrophe. The violence of the fall is proportional to the artificiality of the rise. Understanding this is the first step of the engineering of fate. Do not force the rise if you are not willing to endure the equivalent fall. Kinetic energy versus potential energy, the secret of winter. This is where most people fail. We judge the phases of the pendulum as good, when it rises, advances, and bad, when it falls, retreats. This moral judgment is an error of perception. Let's talk about basic physics. When the pendulum is down and it seems like nothing is happening or that you are retreating, that is when it is gaining speed. It is converting potential energy into kinetic energy. Look at nature. Winter seems like death. The trees are bare, the earth is hard, there are no fruits. An ignorant person would say, the forest has failed, the forest is in crisis. But the gardener knows the truth. In winter, the tree's energy withdraws from the branches and goes down. It goes down to the roots. Under the ground, in the darkness, the tree is accumulating strength, repairing its root system and concentrating sugars. Without that retreat toward the root, there would be no force to push the sap upward in spring. Winter is not the end. It is the charging phase. In your life, it happens the same way. There are moments where everything flows. You sell a lot, you date a lot, you create a lot. It is your summer. Enjoy it. But inevitably, autumn and then winter will arrive. You will feel stuck. Ideas do not flow. Money gets jammed. You feel tired and antisocial. Your ego screams, something is wrong, I have to strive harder. And you start pushing the pendulum, a grave error. If you try to harvest fruits in winter, you only achieve 2 things, frustration and exhaustion. The master of the law of the pendulum recognizes the season. Winter has arrived. The pendulum is going backward. Good. It is time to withdraw, read, plan, rest, and sharpen the axe. It is not time to chop wood. By accepting the retreat as a strategic charging phase, you eliminate suffering. You stop wasting energy fighting the tide and use the tide to rest by floating. Third, the law of compensation, the price of euphoria. The Kybalion says, the measure of its movement to the right is the same as that of its movement to the left. This explains why lottery winners often end up ruined and depressed 5 years later. The pendulum of their economy was violently pushed toward the extreme of extreme wealth without them having built the internal structure. It was an artificial movement. The law of compensation acted relentlessly. The pendulum had to swing toward the other extreme ruin, to restore the energetic balance. This explains toxic, passionate relationships. You meet someone. In a week, you feel they are the love of your life. There is an excessive euphoria. You become obsessed. You rise to heaven. The pendulum is at the maximum right extreme. Mathematically, that relationship is condemned to experience a pain proportional to that initial euphoria. Obsessive romantic love, right, transforms into visceral hatred, left. They are not opposites, they are the same polarized energy. The code of the pendulum warns you, distrust the peaks. Do not seek manic euphoria. Do not seek instantaneous and excessive success overnight. Seek sustained growth. Seek satisfaction, which is the state of balance, not euphoria, which is the state of imbalance. Peace is found near the center of the pendulum, where the movement is smooth and manageable. In the extremes, the G-force crushes you. If you want to avoid deep depression, you must learn to moderate your superficial excitement. The wise man enjoys the good, but does not get drunk on it, for he knows the hangover is waiting. Face suffering is resistance, friction. Imagine you are in the sea and a giant wave is coming. If you become rigid and try to stop the wave with your chest, it will break your ribs and tumble you through the sand. That is pain, plus resistance, suffering. If you submerge, become fluid, and let the wave pass over you, or if you ride it, flow, the wave is power. Human suffering does not come from the facts, the descent of the pendulum. It comes from the denial of the facts. This should not be happening. I should not be sad. I should not have lost that money. That should not is your attempt to stop a 1,000-ton pendulum with your hand. It generates friction. It generates heat, anger, and wear, depression. The first rule for mastering the pendulum is the radical acceptance of the cycle. When life pulls you down, say, "Yes, I am going down. It is part of the rhythm." By saying yes, you eliminate the friction. You become aerodynamic. And curiously, when you do not resist the descent lasts much less. The pendulum reaches its return point faster because you are not breaking it with your fear. It reaches the bottom, touches the wall, and begins to rise again by pure physical inertia. Everything passes. This is the supreme truth of rhythm. Neither your pain will be eternal, nor will your joy be eternal. Clinging to joy makes you suffer when it leaves. Fleeing from pain makes you suffer while it lasts. The witness observes both with the same serenity. Look, now it's time to go up. Look, now it's time to go down. Interesting. The rhythm of history. Collective cycles. The law of the pendulum does not only affect you, it affects nations and humanity. History is not linear, it is cyclical. Empires are born, grow, reach their peak, become corrupt, and fall. Rome, Egypt, Mongolia, the British Empire, and now the West. We are living in a moment of historical pendulum shift. Values are reversed. What was once bad is now good, and vice versa. Politics oscillates from the extreme left to the extreme right. It is the pendulum seeking compensation. If you try to understand the world as a still photo, you will go crazy. You must see it as a movie. If there is an era of great sexual repression, Victorianism, the pendulum will inevitably swing toward an era of liberation and sexual debauchery, 60s, 70s. If there is an era of extreme materialism, the pendulum will swing toward a desperate spiritual search. You as an individual must learn to read the climate. Do not go out in a swimsuit when the historical pendulum indicates a snowstorm. Do not invest in businesses that go against the current of the macroeconomic cycle unless you are an expert at going against it. Knowing where the world's pendulum is gives you an unfair strategic advantage over the sleeping masses. First is the illusion of always good, toxic positivity. We live infected by the virus of toxic positivity. Books, coaches, and gurus tell you, keep your vibration high always, smile always, decree success always. This is technically a physical aberration. Trying to be always up creates an enormous shadow. Everything you repress, your sadness, your rage, your fatigue, to maintain the facade of a spiritual and positive boy, girl, goes to the basement, the subconscious. Pressure accumulates, and one day the pendulum lets go. You have a panic attack. you have a psychotic break, or you get cancer. The body forces you to stop because you did not want to stop voluntarily. True spirituality is not being always in the light. It is knowing how to navigate the darkness. It is knowing how to cry with the same dignity with which you laugh. It is knowing how to fail with the same elegance with which you succeed. Allow yourself to have bad days. A bad day is not a glitch in the matrix. It is a day of exhalation. It is a day of cleaning. If you allow yourself to be sad today without judging yourself, tomorrow you will dawn light and fresh. If you forbid yourself to be sad today, you will drag a dull grey sadness for months. Sort synchronization, timing. Success in life is, in 80%, a matter of timing, rhythm. There is a time to sow and a time to reap. The foolish man tries to reap in sowing time, impatience, or tries to sow in reaping time, procrastination. The wise man synchronizes his clock with the pendulum. How do you know what time it is in your life? Listen to the resistance. If you try to open a door and it is stuck, and you try the window and it is closed, and you push and it does not yield, the universe is telling you, it is not the moment. The pendulum is against you. The ego says, insist, fight, do not give up. The law of the pendulum says, wait, withdraw, accumulate strength, observe. And suddenly, 3 months later, without you doing anything special, the phone rings, the door opens, and everything flows without effort. The pendulum has changed direction. Now you have the wind in your favor. Doing less at the right moment is more effective than doing much at the wrong moment. The Wu Wei, effortless action of the Taoists, is simply the art of waiting for the wave to lift you before starting to row. Face, karmic inertia, breaking the loop. Sometimes the pendulum gets stuck in a negative loop. You wake up, go to a job you hate, complain, get home tired, watch trash TV, sleep poorly, and repeat. The pendulum oscillates in a short grey range of survival. How is the inertia broken? A breakout impulse is required. Newton's law says that an object in motion will stay in motion unless an external force acts upon it. You are the object. Your will is the external force. To change the trajectory of the pendulum, you need to apply a large amount of energy at a concentrated point. You must do something radically different. Getting up an hour earlier, leaving that relationship today, throwing the TV out the window. At first you will feel a brutal resistance. It is the gravity of the old pendulum trying to bring you back to the known oscillation. You will feel fear, guilt, and laziness. If you yield, the pendulum wins. If you push through the initial resistance, the rocket's liftoff phase, you break the gravity. You create a new rhythm. You establish a new oscillation at a higher level. Size the immobile center, the axis. Finally, there is a way to escape the dizziness. Look at the wall clock again. At the bottom, the weight moves fast from left to right. But look up. Look at the point where the rod joins the mechanism. The pivot. That point barely moves. It only rotates on its own axis. The closer you get to the pivot, the less agitation there is. The further you move away toward the periphery of emotions and the material world, the more violent the movement is. Your goal is not to stop the pendulum, impossible. Your goal is to climb the rod. Move your consciousness from the periphery, emotional reaction, toward the center, spiritual observation. From the center, you see poverty and wealth, and you know that both are temporary. You see praise and insult, and you know that both are wind. You become equanimous, not indifferent, cold, but stable, solid. You are the eye of the hurricane. Everything revolves around you, destroying and creating, but in your center, there is a perfect silence. Chapter 2, The Energy Vampires, Collective Pendulums. The system does not want you to be happy. It wants you to be efficient as a battery. A happy battery does not generate more energy than a sad battery. What matters is the intensity of the charge. That is why the system feeds as much on your euphoria in a football stadium as on your terror at the news of a pandemic. For the pendulum, fanatical love and visceral hate are the same food, concentrated attention. Vadim Zeeland, Adaptation. Where your attention goes, your energy flows, and where your energy flows, that grows. If you hate war, you give energy to war. If you fight against poverty, you give reality to poverty. The pendulum laughs at your protest signs. because the ink with which they are written is your own lifeblood. The modern Kybalion. You wake up in the morning, you have energy, you have plans. You open your phone, you see an outrageous news item. A corrupt politician has said something monstrous. You feel a spark of anger in your stomach. You comment on social media. You mentally argue with that politician. Then you go to work. Your company, a corporate structure, demands that you wear the shirt and feel passion for selling screws. You get stressed because you aren't reaching the quota. You get home. Your football team loses. You feel devastated, as if you had lost. You go to sleep exhausted, empty, dry. You ask yourself, why am I so tired if I've only been sitting down? You are not tired from physical effort. You are tired because you have been drained. You have spent the day connected to invisible suction machines. You have given away your most valuable treasure, your free vital energy, to entities that are not you. These entities are not demons with horns and tails. They are much more real and dangerous. They are shared information structures. They are collective pendulums. Today we are going to meet your predators. We are going to see how they hook you, how they milk you, and most importantly, how to become indigestible to them. The anatomy of a monster. What is a pendulum? A pendulum, or egregor, is born when a group of people begins to think and feel in the same direction. Imagine a football stadium, 50,000 people focusing their attention on a single point, the ball. 50,000 people feeling the same intense emotion, euphoria or anger at the same time. That mental and emotional energy does not disappear into thin air. It groups together. It condenses. It creates a cloud of information over the stadium. This cloud takes on a life of its own. It develops a basic survival instinct. Its only goal is to continue existing and to grow. For that, it needs food. What does it eat? Your attention. Once the pendulum has been born, it no longer depends on individuals. The football club exists beyond the players, who change, and the fans, who die. The idea of the club is immortal as long as it has followers who feed it. The same occurs with religions, political parties, fashions, corporations, economic crises, and wars. They are autonomous energetic entities. They are called pendulums because, like a swing, they need to be pushed constantly so they don't stop. Every time you are outraged by a news item, you push the pendulum. Every time you worry about the crisis, you push the pendulum. Every time you worship a leader, you push the pendulum, and the pendulum gratefully grows and becomes stronger, while you remain weaker. Ties the capture frequency resonance. How does a pendulum catch you? It cannot force you. It needs your unconscious permission. It does so through resonance. The pendulum emits a specific frequency. For example, the pendulum of the economic crisis emits at the frequency of fear and scarcity, let's say 10 Hz. If you have a latent fear of losing your job, your mental radio is tuned to 10 Hz. When the pendulum passes nearby, click. You enter into resonance. You begin to vibrate with it. Suddenly, you cannot stop reading news about the crisis. You feel anguish. You talk about it with your friends, infecting them with the frequency. You have become a repeater. Now you are part of the pendulum's body. You work for it for free. The terrifying part is that you believe they are your thoughts. I am worried because I am responsible. No, you are worried because you are possessed by an external structure that is using you to process its energy. Your thoughts of fear are not yours. They are the digestion of the pendulum occurring in your brain. Threat, the hook, emotional provocation. Pendulums are masters of human psychology. They know that a calm and centered person is useless to them. A person at peace does not release energy. It is a closed circuit. To eat, the pendulum needs to break your balance. It needs you to react. That is why the pendulum provokes you. The pendulum of politics shows you the opposing candidate saying something monstrous. It does not seek to inform, it seeks to outrage you. Indignation is a stream of high-quality red energy. The pendulum of fashion shows you unattainable, perfect bodies. It seeks to make you feel inferior and inadequate. Envy and insecurity are gourmet food. The pendulum of family drama reminds you of what your mother-in-law said to you 10 years ago. It seeks to reactivate resentment. The mechanism is always the same. 1. Stimulus. news, comment, event, memory. 2. Hook, touches an open wound in you, fear, justice, pride, greed. Reaction, you explode emotionally, you scream, cry, buy, vote, get depressed. 4. Harvest, the pendulum absorbs that explosion of energy. You feel empty. The pendulum feels full. For the warrior's trap, to hate is to feed. Here resides the most counterintuitive secret of transurfing and magic. Fighting the pendulum is feeding it. You believe that by going out into the street to shout, "Down with the system," you are destroying the system. The system loves it when you shout. It doesn't care about the sign of your emotion, plus or a. It only cares about intensity. Hate is a very strong form of attachment. If you hate a politician, you are thinking about him all day. You are tuned to his frequency. You are gifting him your life. The anti-fan is the most loyal fan. Pendulums often create fake fights. Left versus right. Omnivores versus vegans. Men versus women. They seem like opposites, but they are two faces of the same pendulum. While they fight each other, they generate brutal friction. That friction is free energy that the superior pendulum absorbs. The pendulum of war feeds as much on the soldier who kills with fury as on the pacifist who cries with despair and fear. Both are vibrating at the frequency of conflict. The only way to kill a pendulum is not war, it is oblivion. If no one goes to war, the pendulum of war starves to death. If no one hates or loves the politician disappears. Indifference is the deadly poison for energy vamps. V. The loss of individuality, the zombie effect. When you get hooked to a strong pendulum, you lose your soul. You stop being you. You become a follower, a believer, a militant. Your energy field merges with that of the pendulum. This has a deceptive benefit. You feel safe. You no longer have to think. The pendulum thinks for you. You no longer have to decide what is right or wrong. The pendulum gives you the manual of morality. You feel part of something bigger than yourself. It is the drug of belonging, but the price is your freedom and your destiny. The pendulum does not aim for your individual happiness. The pendulum doesn't give a damn about you. You are a screw. If you break, burn out, get sick, die for the cause, it replaces you with another immediately. The heroes who die for ideologies are martyrs of the pendulum. They are given posthumous medals, worth nothing on the other side, to motivate the next screws to sacrifice too. The pendulum promises you a future paradise that never arrives, so that you keep pushing the wheel today. Awakening means realizing that you have been working in a factory that does not pay you. For the big players, types of pendulums. Let's look around us with they live glasses. 1. Political ideological pendulums based on division. Us, the good guys, against them, the bad guys. Feed on anger and a sense of moral superiority. 2. Religious spiritual pendulums based on guilt and salvation. You are a sinner, you need our energy to save you. Feed on the fear of death and submission. 3. Sports pendulums based on tribal identity. Some of the most emotionally voracious, but least physically harmful, unless you are a hooligan. Absorb mass euphoria and disappointment. 4. Corporate pendulums. Wear the shirt. We are a family. Feed on your ambition and fear of dismissal. Disease pendulums. Epidemics have a biological component, but also a pendulum component. The fear of contagion lowers the population's defenses. Collective hysteria feeds the pendulum of the plague. 7th, the ultimate pendulum, money. Money is the most powerful pendulum on planet Earth. It connects almost every human being. It is an artificial pendulum because money itself, paper or digits, has no real value. It only has the value that collective faith grants it. It feeds on two primary emotions: greed, I want more, and fear, I don't have enough. Most people live violently oscillating between these two polarities. They work in jobs they hate, submission to the pendulum, to buy things they don't need, offering to the pendulum, to impress people they don't care about, validation of the pendulum. To free yourself, you must not flee from money, that is fear, poverty, which feeds it. You must lose your respect for it. You must see it as a tool, not as a god. You must play with it, not suffer it. When you remove the importance, excessive potential from money, the pendulum stops squeezing your neck. Money begins to flow toward you because you no longer generate resistance. You become a master of the flow. Fade, the strategy of extinction, the void. How do we get rid of them? The technique is called extinction or failure of the pendulum. It consists of not reacting. Imagine that a pendulum comes toward you, someone insults you, a news item scares you. The pendulum expects you to hit back, energy. If you stay empty, transparent, the pendulum passes through you without touching you. It finds no hook. Example, your boss shouts at you unjustly. Normal reaction. Food. You get angry, shout back, or leave crying and feeling like a victim. The pendulum has eaten. Extinction. Reaction. You look at him calmly. You observe that he is possessed by a pendulum of stress. You don't take it personally, you breathe. You say calmly, "I understand that you are upset. Let's talk when we are calm." Result, the pendulum falls into the void. It has received no return energy. It is destabilized. Your boss remains confused or calms down suddenly because the energy he launched did not bounce. Practice benevolent indifference. It is not ignoring with contempt, that is aggression. It is ignoring because you are busy being happy. It is passing by the barking dog without looking at it. If you don't look at it, the dog stops barking because it gets bored. Make yourself boring for dramatic pendulums. The rental strategy, playing the game. You cannot live outside of all pendulums unless you go to a cave. You need to work, use money, live in society. The master strategy is rent yourself, participate in the pendulums, but do not give them your soul. Go to work, fulfill your function impeccably, but maintain an internal distance. I am here, I play the game, I collect my money, but my identity is not sales manager. My identity is free. When you go to the football stadium, shout, jump, and have fun, but maintain 10% of consciousness observing, look how we play at being the tribe. If they lose, do not sink. Remember, it is a game. Remember, use the energy of the pendulum for your enjoyment, surfing the wave, but get off the board before it breaks on the rocks. Use the system. Do not let the system use you. Be a visitor in the matrix, not a resident. Chapter 3. The Importance Trap, Excessive Potentials. If you care too much, you will not have it. Desire creates paradoxes. Necessity creates walls. Only when you renounce the need to obtain something do you become capable of receiving it. The universe does not respond to your pleas, it responds to your frequency. And the frequency of need is the frequency of absence. Vadim Zeeland. The man who stands on tiptoe cannot stand for long. The man who takes strides that are too long cannot walk. He who shows himself off does not shine. He who justifies himself does not convince. He who praises himself has no merit. To the Tao, these things are like leftover food and tumors. Lao Tzu, Tao Te Ching. Think of the last time you desired something with all your soul. Perhaps it was a perfect job. Perhaps it was a person you fell madly in love with. Perhaps it was a bank loan that had to come through, or you were ruined. You desired it. You prayed. You visualized. You lit candles to all the saints. You didn't sleep thinking about it. And what happened? Most likely everything went wrong. The interviewer noticed you were nervous and didn't hire you. The beloved person felt overwhelmed and went with someone who paid them less attention. The bank denied the loan due to a stupid bureaucratic error. You were left devastated, shouting to the sky, "Why, if I put all my energy?" Exactly. That was your mistake. You put in too much energy. You violated a fundamental law of energetic hydrodynamics. You created an excessive potential. You gave that event an inordinate importance. And the universe, which functions as a system of communicating vessels that always seeks balance, had to intervene to eliminate the tension. How did it eliminate the tension? By taking the object of desire away from you. Welcome to the importance trap. It is the number one reason why the law of attraction fails for most people. People believe that visualizing with intense emotion attracts. I tell you that often intense emotion repels. If the emotion is one of desperate need, you are emitting a signal of lack so strong that reality has no choice but to return more lack to you. Today we are going to learn to deactivate this bomb. We are going to learn the art of cold intention. The physics of balance, the calm lake. Imagine reality as a perfectly smooth and calm lake. The water level is uniform, there is no tension. Now imagine that you become obsessed with getting a new car. You start to generate a mental whirlpool. I need it. If I don't have it, I'll be a failure. My happiness depends on that car. In the energetic fabric of the lake, you are creating a mountain of water at one point, your desire, and a deep valley at another, your fear of not having it. You are altering the atmospheric pressure of the quantum field. You are creating an excessive potential. Nature hates imbalances. If there is an area of high pressure and another of low pressure, what happens? Wind is created. Wind is a balancing force. Its only mission is to equalize the pressures. In your life, balancing forces act to eliminate the tension you have created. Since you are clinging to the object of desire, the fastest way to eliminate the tension is to move the object away from you or make it disappoint you. If you give life or death importance to an exam, the balancing forces will make your mind go blank or make you fall ill that day. It is not a divine punishment, it is fluid mechanics. If you tighten the bowstring too much, it breaks. The universe is simply cutting the string so it stops vibrating dangerously. So what is importance, the hook of the pendulum? Importance is the measure of the rigidity with which you take things. It is the hook by which pendulums, chapter 2, catch you. If something doesn't matter to you, the pendulum cannot touch you. But if something matters too much to you, you are a puppet. There are two types of importance that create excessive potentials. Internal importance. It is the overdimensioning of your own self. It manifests as pride, I'm the best, nobody deserves me, or as an inferiority complex, I am trash, I am worth nothing. If you have excessive pride, balancing forces will send you a bully or a public humiliation to lower your vanity and restore the lake level. If you have excessive inferiority, you are giving yourself negative importance. My defects are enormous. Balancing. Forces will confirm your belief by making others ignore you or treat you poorly. 2. External importance. It is the overdimensioning of an object, person, or event outside of yourself. Of idolatry. You put your partner on a pedestal. They are an angel, they are perfect. You create an imbalance. Nobody can live on a pedestal for long. Balancing forces will make that person show you their worst side so they fall off the pedestal. Obsession with a goal. If I don't get this job, my life is over. The secret of the magician is to keep importance at zero. It does not mean being an insensitive vegetable. It means that you play the game with passion, but knowing it is only a game. If you win, fine. If you lose, fine. That attitude, pure intention, does not generate excessive potentials. The lake remains calm. Threat, money and the paradox of need. Let's talk about money, because it is where we suffer this law the most. Money is neutral energy, but most people load it with a brutal external importance. Money is hard to get. Money is evil. I need money to be free. If you walk down the street thinking, I need money, you are emitting a frequency of lack. You are shouting to the universe, I don't have it. And the mirror of reality reflects the image back. Correct, you don't. Furthermore, need creates tension. Money, like water or electricity, flows through the path of least resistance. If you are tense and grasping, you are energetically constipated. Money cannot enter. Observe the rich, those who maintain their wealth. They usually have a relaxed attitude toward money. They respect it, but they do not idolize it nor fear it. They treat it with naturalness. To attract money, you must reduce its importance. You must reach the mental point where having $10,000 in your pocket is as natural as $10. As long as having money seems like a miracle or something huge to you, you will keep it away. Miracles do not happen often. Normal things do. Turn wealth into something normal in your mind, and the balancing forces will stop blocking it. If love and the pedestal, chronicle of a death foretold. In relationships, importance is the silent killer. You meet someone, you like them. You start to project, it's them, it's my soulmate, it's the answer to my prayers. Immediately you have created an excessive potential. You have placed a load of expectations of 1,000 tons on the shoulders of a normal human being. That person, at a subconscious level, feels the pressure. They feel you are sucking energy from them or demanding perfection. Their instinct for freedom activates, and they move away. You feel the withdrawal and get more overwhelmed. Why don't they call me? You increase the importance. You create more headwind. Finally, the relationship breaks or never starts. The golden rule of transurfing in love is, take the person off the pedestal. Love them, but do not need them. Enjoy their company, but keep your own life intact. I love you, but if you go, I will still be fine, and my life will continue to be wonderful. That attitude is magnetic. People are attracted to those who do not beg for attention. Energetic self-sufficiency is the most potent aphrodisiac. If you reduce the importance of the relationship, paradoxically, the relationship flourishes, because you have removed the weight that was suffocating it. Desire versus intention, wanting versus having. Here is the technical distinction that separates the dreamer from the creator. 1. Desire. It is wanting something you do not have. It implies lack. It implies doubt. I hope I get it. It generates excessive potential. Desire consumes energy. 2. Intention. It is the quiet determination to have something. There is no doubt. There is no hysterical emotion. It is pure action. Intention does not consume energy. It directs it. Example, if you want to buy the newspaper, you don't sit on the sofa desiring the newspaper. You don't visualize it with tears in your eyes. You don't fear the kiosk has disappeared. You just get up and buy it. That is pure intention. It is a cold movement without importance. I'm going to have it because I've decided to have it. Period. The code of the pendulum tells you, stop desiring and start having intention. Transform the, my God, I hope I pass, into, I'm going to study and pass, it's a formality. When you take the drama out of the goal becomes accessible. You bring it down from the unreachable sky and put it on the supermarket shelf. You only have to reach out your hand. Fails are how to reduce importance. Deactivation techniques. How do we lower importance when there is really a lot at stake? A surgery, a trial, a debt. You cannot simply fool yourself and say it doesn't matter. Here are 3 mental engineering techniques. 1. The defeat scenario, worst-case acceptance. Fear comes from resistance to losing. If you have a vital job interview, sit down beforehand and imagine the worst scenario. I don't get hired. I run out of money. I have to move back to my parents. Look it in the face, live it mentally, and then accept it. Well, if that happens, I will survive. I'll do X, Y, Z. It's not death. The moment you accept the possibility of defeat, the fear disappears. The excessive potential dissolves. You go to the interview calm because you have already died and seen it's not that bad. And because you are calm, you radiate security, and it is much more likely that they will hire you. The humor tactic, ridicule. The pendulum and importance hate humor. They are solemn. If you have a serious problem, laugh at it. Turn it into a caricature. Look at the drama I'm staging. I look like a soap opera. Humor breaks the rigidity of the energy field. If you laugh at the monster becomes small. Action, dissipation. Anxiety is accumulated energy without a channel, static, excessive potential. If you are worried, do something, anything. Clean the house, run, write. Action converts potential into kinetic. The movement dissipates the charge. Do not stay still thinking about the problem. Move. They are the owner's attitude, healthy cynicism. To navigate the law of the pendulum, you need to develop a certain healthy cynicism. I don't mean being bitter or negative. I mean stopping being so naive and impressionable. Stop looking at the world with the eyes of a scared child asking for permission. Adopt the owner's attitude. When you enter a restaurant, you don't ask for permission to sit down. You ask for a table because you are going to pay. Do the same with life. Do not ask for permission to be successful. Do not apologize for your desires. Do not justify yourself. Justification is a symptom of internal importance, guilt. You believe you are too far down and need to explain yourself to the court of others. The owner does not justify himself. He acts. If he makes a mistake, he fixes it, but he does not scourge himself. This attitude of quiet authority automatically reduces all potentials around you. The balancing forces do not attack you because you do not generate peaks of tension. You generate a constant and firm wave. Fate, indifference is not apathy. Many confuse reducing importance with apathy or depression. If nothing matters, why live? Mistake apathy is, I don't feel like doing anything because I believe I cannot get it. Repressed frustration. Reduction of importance is, I really want to play, but if I lose, nothing happens. Freedom. Watch a child playing a video game. He is concentrated. He wants to win. He makes an effort. He enjoys it. But if he is killed in the game, he doesn't throw himself out the window. He knows it is a game. He hits restart and continues. That is the attitude. Take life as a sacred game. Play with total intensity, but with zero attachment. Dance with the pendulum, but do not bind yourself to it. Fire the wind of balancing forces. Always remember, the universe is not against you. The universe is impersonal. If you build a card tower too high, importance, it will fall. Not because the universe hates cards, but because gravity exists. The balancing forces are like the wind. If you are a flexible blade of grass, the wind bends you but doesn't break you. If you are a rigid and proud oak, high importance, the wind rips you up by the roots. Be flexible. Do not take yourself too seriously. You are an evolved monkey on a rock spinning around an average star in an irrelevant galaxy. Your problems, seen from space, are invisible. Relax. In the grand scheme of things, nothing is that important. And paradoxically, when you realize that nothing matters that much, you begin to have the power to change everything. Chapter 4. The Emotional Hook. Guilt, Fear, and Pride. The pendulum cannot touch you if it has nothing to hold on to. It's like a hook looking for an eyelet. If your suit is smooth, no guilt, no fear, no pride, the hook slides off. But if your suit is full of eyelets and open zippers, the pendulum will hook you and drag you through the mud. Freedom is not hiding from the pendulum. It is eliminating the eyelets. Vadim Zeeland. The one who makes you angry dominates you. The one who makes you feel guilty possesses you. The one who scares you directs you. Only the one who needs nothing from you and fears nothing from you lets you be free. And only when you are that man are you invincible. Stoic wisdom. Imagine that you are a wooden puppet. You have free joints. You could dance, run, or sit under a tree. But you have strings tied to your wrists, your ankles, and your neck. Those strings go up into the darkness where invisible hands, the pendulums, hold them. You believe you move of your own free will. You say, I'm going to work extra because I am responsible. You say, I'm worried about the economy because I am realistic. You say, I was offended by what they said because I have dignity. The engineer's eye sees the truth. You are not responsible. You have a string of guilt. You have a string of guilt on your neck. You are not realistic. You have a string of fear in your stomach. You do not have dignity. You have a string of pride in your chest. The pendulums pull these strings and you dance. You generate kinetic energy, emotion, that goes up the thread and feeds the giant. To apply the law of the pendulum and recover your destiny, you must undergo surgery. You must identify where these hooks are sewn into your psyche and tear them out. It is not a painless process, but it is the price of sovereignty. Today we will study the holy trinity of control, guilt, fear, and pride. I guilt the slave's collar. Of all the vibrational frequencies, guilt is the stickiest and the most useful for manipulators. Guilt is, in essence, a self-imposed energy debt. When you feel guilty, you are emitting a signal to the universe that says, I deserve punishment. And since the universe is a faithful mirror, it will send you an executioner. The family pendulum, the religious pendulum, and the state pendulum adore guilt. Since childhood, they installed the button in you. Look at what you've done. Mom is sad because of you. If you don't work hard, you're lazy. You grew up believing that your existence is a nuisance and that you must pay for being alive by being compliant. The mechanism of the manipulator. Energy vampires, people possessed by pendulums, smell guilt from miles away. If you have latent guilt, you will invariably attract people who judge you, demand from you, and mistreat you. It is not bad luck. It is physics. You carry the Punisher wanted sign and they carry the Executioner offered sign. The pendulum feeds on the friction between your submission and their aggression. The employee who feels guilty for resting will attract a tyrant boss who makes them work unpaid overtime. The boss is only the instrument. The cause is the employee's guilt. The solution: renounce justification. To cut the thread of guilt, you must stop justifying. The one who justifies themselves accuses themselves. When you explain too much why you were late, why you don't want to go to that party, or why you spent your money, you are asking for forgiveness for being you. You are bowing your head to the pendulum. The technique is internal authorization. Give yourself permission to be bad. Give yourself permission to fail. Give yourself permission to not meet anyone's expectations. When someone attacks or demands from you, do not defend yourself. Say, yes, it is possible you are right. Or simply, I'm not going because I don't want to. No excuses. When you stop justifying yourself, the manipulator loses their grip. The pendulum of guilt starves when you declare yourself innocent by divine right. Thine fear, the vampire's feast. Fear is the oldest and most powerful emotion. It is a very low and dense frequency of vibration. For dark pendulums, war, crisis, disease, fear is caviar. Fear has a unique characteristic. It creates what it fears. It is a self-fulfilling prophecy. The mechanism is as follows. Negative visualization. You imagine being fired. 2. Emotional charge. You feel anguish in your stomach, energy. 3. Resonance. You tune into the lifeline where you get fired. 4. Materialization. You behave insecurely, make mistakes due to nerves, and finally you are fired. The pendulum of fear constantly whispers scenarios. What if I get sick? What if she leaves me? What if the plane crashes? If you accept the thought and nourish it with emotion, you have bitten the bait. You have signed an energy contract. I accept living in the reality where this happens. The solution: insurance and action. You cannot eliminate fear by fighting it. You must deactivate it with engineering. 1. The safety net, Plan B. Fear feeds on uncertainty. What will I do if? Eliminate the uncertainty. If you fear being fired, do not say, it won't happen. Say, if it happens, I have savings for 3 months and an updated resume. With a plan, fear loses its alarm function. The pendulum lets go. 2. Action. Fear paralyzes. Action dissipates. Fear is energy accumulated in the mind. If you bring it down to your hands, doing something, it is transformed. If you fear disease, do not watch medical news. Go for a run. Eat healthy. Convert fear into discipline. The pendulum cannot feed on someone who is busy building their fortress. 3. Pride and offense, the perfect target. This is where the strong fall. If guilt catches the submissive and fear catches the insecure, pride catches the fighters. Pride, or personal importance, is the pathological need to be right and to be respected. It is a huge hook in the middle of the chest. The pendulum knows it, and it uses it. How does it control you? By offending you. Someone insults you in traffic, someone criticizes your work, someone questions your beliefs. Immediately your ego inflates. How dare they? Nobody speaks to me like that. You feel an injection of hot adrenaline. You fight, you shout, you spend hours ruminating on revenge. Congratulations. The pendulum just had a feast on your energy. It has manipulated you like a small child. One word was enough to pull you out of your center and turn you into a reactive battery. The one who takes offense is easy to control. If you want to destroy a proud man, you only have to wound his ego. He will destroy himself by attacking blindly. The solution: conscious stupidity. To be free, you must renounce the need to be important. You must cultivate invulnerability. Not the invulnerability of a stone wall, which can be broken with a cannon, but the invulnerability of the void, which cannot be hit. If someone calls you an idiot, and you know who you are, the word passes through you. There is no hook. Accept the possibility of being wrong. Say, it could be that you are right and I am an idiot. Thank you for the information. This response, verbal aikido, leaves the pendulum without ground. The aggressor is left confused. They expected resistance to feed on and found empty space. Their own energy turns against them. Renounce having the last word. Peace is worth more than being right. True power is not being respected out of fear. It is not needing respect to know who you are. 4. The sense of duty, the goodness trap. There is a subtle hook disguised as virtue, duty. I must help my brother even if he is a parasite. I must save the world. I must be a good citizen. True duty is born from the heart and gives energy. False duty is born from the pendulum and takes energy. How to distinguish them? If after fulfilling your duty you feel empty, resentful or tired, it was a pendulum. It was obligation, not love. Family pendulums are experts in this. They use blood as blackmail. I am your mother. You owe me your life. No one owes anyone anything for the fact of being born. Love is a gift, not a mortgage. If you do things out of obligation, you generate a dirty energy of resentment that poisons the relationship. Learn to say no. A clean and honest no is more spiritual than a resentful yes. By saying no to the pendulum of false duty, you recover tons of energy you can use to truly love whom you choose. V. The inferiority complex, guilt's cousin. This hook is the belief that you are not enough. The pendulum of fashion, advertising, and social success anchors here. They show you images of unattainable perfection. They make you feel small, ugly, poor. To compensate, you work like a slave to buy the car, clothes, or surgery that will make you enough. It is a race in a hamster wheel. You will never be enough for the pendulum, because the pendulum feeds on your search, not your finding. The solution: stop comparing yourself. Comparison is the thief of joy. Understand that the success the pendulum sells is a hologram. Those perfect Instagram people are also unhappy, also afraid, also slaves to other pendulums. Define your own success. If your success is growing tomatoes and reading books in peace, so be it. The moment you accept your own uniqueness and stop wanting to be someone else, the hook of inferiority dissolves. So indignation and justice, the noble hook. Be careful with this one. It is the hook of the good people, social fighters, saviors, vigilantes. They see an injustice and burn in flames. It's intolerable. They dedicate their lives to fighting against something, against patriarchy, against capitalism, against pollution. Remember Chapter 2. Fighting against something is feeding it. Mother Teresa knew it. She said, "Do not invite me to an anti-war rally. Invite me to a pro-peace rally." It seems like the same thing, but energetically it is the opposite. The anti-war vibrates in hate for war, feeds the war pendulum. The pro-peace vibrates in love for peace, creates a new reality. If you spend your day indignant watching the news, you are a battery of the system, no matter how awake you think you are. Your anger does not change the world. It only gives you a stomach ulcer and fattens the pendulum. Change the world with your example, with your creation, with your vibration, not with your shout. 7. Energy immunity, the Teflon suit. How do we live without these hooks? Do we become cold robots? No. We become sovereigns. You feel emotions, but you choose them. They are not automatic reactions. You put on a Teflon suit. Provocations slide off. Guilt bounces. Fear is observed and discarded. Imagine yourself walking through a market full of aggressive sellers, pendulums, trying to grab your arm to sell you their dramas. You walk smiling, firm, without stopping. No thanks. I'm not buying guilt today. I'm not buying fear today. Keep walking toward your goal. At first they will shout louder. They will try to hook you with sharper hooks. But if you maintain your center, they will get tired. They will realize that you don't have buttons. You are a glitch in their collection system. And they will leave you in peace. Failed? Quick disconnection protocol. When you feel that a hook has caught you, you feel the sting in your stomach, the heat in your face, the anxiety in your chest, use this emergency protocol. 1. Detection. Stop. I feel bad. What emotion is it? Is it mine or is it induced? 2. Identification. It's guilt. My mother wants me to go eat. Observation. Look at the emotion as if it were an alien object. Do not say, I am guilty. Say, there is guilt in my field. 4. Cutting. Breathe deeply. Visualize golden scissors cutting the thread coming out of your solar plexus. 5. Reaffirmation. Mentally say, I return this energy to its origin. I declare myself free. Change of focus. Immediately start doing something else you like. Do not stay ruminating. Change the channel. Chapter 5. The Extinction of the Pendulum, the Bullfighter's Tactic. Water is fluid, soft, and yields to everything. But water wears away rock, which is rigid and cannot yield. As a general rule, that which is fluid tends to overcome that which is rigid. The soft overcomes the hard. That which yields overcomes that which resists. This everyone knows, but no one practices. Lao Tzu Tao Te Ching. When the pendulum lunges at you, it expects resistance. It expects to hit a wall of anger, fear, or justification. If instead of a wall it finds the void, the pendulum falls. Its own inertia defeats it. Do not try to stop the bull. Simply do not be there when the horns arrive. Vadim Zeeland. You are in an argument. Someone is shouting at you. You feel the shockwave of their anger hitting your chest. Your biological instinct, reptilian brain, has two pre-programmed options, fight or flight. If you fight, shout back. You generate a clash of energies. The pendulum feeds on the explosion. Both lose, the pendulum wins. If you flee, leave crying or in fear, you generate a victim energy. The pendulum pursues you and feeds on your terror. But there is a third option, an option that is not instinctive, but conscious. It is the option of the master. Imagine a bull ring. A 500-kilo bull, the pendulum comes out. It is pure brute force, blind and furious. In the center is the bullfighter. He wears no armor. He carries no shield to block the bull. If he did, the bull would kill him. The bullfighter carries a cape. When the bull charges with all its violence, the bullfighter does not run or push. He makes a smooth, elegant, almost imperceptible movement. Olé. The bull passes by, piercing the air, the void. The bullfighter remains in his place untainted, having spent almost no energy. The bull, in contrast, is exhausted by its own useless effort. Today, we are going to learn the tactic of the bullfighter. We will learn to extinguish pendulums by creating a vacuum for them. You will discover that true strength is not the hardness of the wall, but the untouchability of the ghost. If you are not there to receive the blow does not exist. Metaphysics of extinction, the principle of non-resistance. To understand how to extinguish a pendulum, we must remember how wave energy works. When two waves clash, two things can happen. 1. Resonance, constructive interference. If you vibrate at the same frequency as the attack, anger against anger, the waves add up. Energy doubles. The pendulum grows. Dissonance, blockage. If you try to block the wave, anger against rigidity, resistance, you create turbulence. The wave breaks over you and wears you down. Extinction is different. It is the absence of a return wave. The pendulum throws a packet of negative energy at you. It expects an acknowledgement of receipt, your reaction. If you become transparent, if the energy passes through you without you getting emotionally hooked, the circuit does not close. The pendulum is left holding the energy in its hand, and since that energy has not been discharged, it turns against the emitter or simply dissipates into the ether. The pendulum misses the shot. It becomes destabilized. If you repeat this several times, the bull charges and finds a vacuum, the pendulum loses structural coherence. It turns off or goes to find another unsuspecting victim who does want to fight. Peace is not won by fighting against war. It is won by becoming incompatible with war. THIS vacuum versus blockage, the crucial difference. Many confuse the bullfighter's tactic with putting up with it or repressing. Be careful. 1. Blockage, stonewall. Someone insults you. You stay quiet, but inside you are boiling. You idiot, you'll pay for this. This is not extinction. This is repression. You are creating an excessive potential inside your body. The pendulum has hooked you even if you don't show it outside. You'll get an ulcer. You are fighting the bull by pushing it mentally. 2. Vacuum, the ghost. Someone insults you. You observe the insult as if it were a noisy bird flying by. You don't take it personally. You know that person is possessed by a pendulum. You feel compassion or indifference. Inside there is no tension. There is space. The insult enters, finds nothing solid, ego, to crash against, and goes out the other side. You truly remain calm. The tactic of the bullfighter requires you to let go of importance. Chapter 3. If your ego is still important to you, you won't be able to create a vacuum. You'll want to defend yourself. To be a bullfighter, you must accept that the bull, the problem, exists, but decide that it has nothing to do with you. It is an external event, like rain. You don't fight the rain, you open the umbrella or let it wet you. 3. Verbal Aikido, the disarming acceptance. How is this applied in a real conversation? The principle of Aikido is to use the opponent's strength to unbalance them. Never oppose force. Join it and redirect it. The main tool is agreement. Imagine a pendulum. Your boss, partner, client comes to attack you. Pendulum. You're incompetent. This report is garbage. Normal reaction. Resistance. That's not true. I worked hard. You don't understand. Clash. The pendulum feeds on your justification. Aikido reaction. Extinction. Yes, it is possible that you are right, and it's not my best work. Agreement. Analyze what has happened. The pendulum came with an attacking force, expecting to find a defensive force to clash with. You did not defend. You moved in the same direction as the attack. You said, yes. The pendulum falls flat on its face. It pushed a door that was already open. It is left without arguments. How can it continue attacking someone who agrees? The energy of the conflict dissipates instantly. Once the pendulum is disarmed, then you can redirect the energy gently. Now then, what can we do to improve it quickly? You have transformed a war into a collaboration in 10 seconds. You extinguished the fire by removing air. The golden rule: always accept the first blow. Accept the label they put on you. If they tell you you're stupid, say, sometimes I am very stupid, yes. By accepting the label loses its power to hurt you. You take away the sting. You become invulnerable. Breaking the script, eccentric behavior. Pendulums are mechanical. They work with pre-established scripts. They have very rigid stimulus response patterns. Stimulus: I steal your wallet. Expected response: fear, anger, shouting. Stimulus: I tell you, I love you. Expected response: you love me too. If you want to extinguish a pendulum, do something not in the script. Create cognitive dissonance in the system. This is called pattern breaking. Imagine an aggressor comes looking for trouble. He expects fear. If you suddenly start singing opera at the top of your lungs, or ask with genuine curiosity where he bought his shoes, or burst out laughing, the pendulum crashes. A 404 error occurs in the aggressor's matrix. His brain does not know how to process that reaction. There is no box for that. The energy of the attack collapses because the frequency has changed radically. Humor, the absurd and controlled madness, are nuclear weapons against serious pendulums. If you take a tragic situation as a joke, the pendulum of tragedy cannot feed on you. Laugh at the devil and he will flee from you. It is not a metaphor, it is a tactical instruction. Benevolent indifference, the zero state. What is the correct emotion to extinguish pendulums? It is not hate, negative hook. It is not blind love, positive hook. It is benevolent indifference. It is a state of zero. It is looking at the world like someone looking at an aquarium. You see the big fish eating the small ones. You see the drama. You see the beauty. But you don't put your hand in the water. You don't judge that fish is bad. You only observe, that's a shark. It does shark things. When you apply this, you become an impeccable observer. You see news of the crisis. Instead of being outraged, you think, wow, the economy pendulum is swinging hard. I'll step aside so it doesn't splash me. You don't rejoice in others' misfortune, that is cruelty. But you don't let yourself be dragged down by it either. That is stupidity. You keep your vibration high and stable. That stability acts as a natural repellent. Problems bounce off your auric field. Conflictive people stay away because you are boring. You give no drama. You become invisible to misfortune. Fight extinction of anxiety, internal pendulums. Pendulums are not only outside, they also live inside as obsessive thought loops. A panic attack is an internal pendulum that feeds on your resistance to fear. 1. You feel a palpitation. 2. You think, "My God, I'm having a heart attack." Fear. 3. You try to force yourself to calm down. "I don't want to feel this." Resistance increases tension. The pendulum grows. Panic breaks out. To extinguish a panic attack, you must use the internal bullfighter tactic, paradoxical intention. Instead of fleeing from fear, invite it in. Say to the panic pendulum, "Oh, you want to scare me? Come scare me more. Go on, kill me right now, let my heart burst." Face it with an attitude of aggressive surrender. What happens? Since you stop resisting and ask for more, the feedback mechanism breaks. The pendulum pushes and you don't push back. You pull toward yourself. The pendulum falls into the void. Anxiety disappears in seconds. It is magical. By accepting death, or the symptom, you recover life. You cannot extinguish fire with wind, you must let it consume itself by removing the wood of your struggle. 7. The rental strategy, paying the toll. There are pendulums you cannot extinguish or avoid. For example, bureaucracy, taxes, traffic laws, an unavoidable boss. If you try to create a vacuum for them by ignoring them, they will put you in jail or fire you. In these cases, you don't fight, but you don't ignore either. You apply the strategy of paying the toll. You give the pendulum exactly what it asks for, but not a gram more. Does the bureaucracy pendulum ask for a stupid form? Don't get angry. Don't be outraged. Simply fill out the form calmly, smile, turn it in, and forget it. Rent yourself. Lend your body and intellect for a moment, but keep your soul out of the equation. Do the minimum necessary so that the pendulum lets you pass, like someone paying a toll on the highway. You pay the coin, the barrier rises, and you continue your journey at full speed. You don't stay arguing with the barrier. Fakin, ignoring the negative, the reality filter. The bullfighter's tactic also involves managing your attention. If you don't like something, don't look at it. It seems simplistic, but it is advanced quantum. If you see something you dislike in your reality and focus on it, even to criticize it, you are anchoring it in your lifeline. You are saying, "This exists for me." To extinguish it, withdraw your attention. Act as if it does not exist. If you pass through an ugly neighborhood, do not look at the trash. Look at the sky or the single flower growing in the crack. By depriving the negative of your observation, you uncollapse it from reality. Over time, negative things literally disappear from your life. You move, you change jobs, or annoying people leave. The pendulum dries up and falls like a dead leaf. Transforming energy, spiritual judo. Once you are an expert bullfighter, you can take the next step. Transmute. When the pendulum throws negative energy at you and you dodge it, that energy remains floating. You can take it and change its polarity. Someone shouts at you with envy. Instead of being offended, take that intensity and say, "I accept this energy. I take away the poison and use it for my success." Visualize that the other's envy is gasoline for your engine. The more they attack you, the stronger you become, not because you return the attack, but because you absorb the kinetic energy and use it to propel yourself toward your goals. You become an alchemical generator. You reach the point where negative pendulums are afraid of you, because they know if they attack you, you get stronger and they get weaker. Chapter 6. Beneficial Failure, Reversing the Current. There are no desperate situations. There are only people who despair in the face of situations. The universe is a double-sided mirror. If in the face of failure you shout disaster, the mirror returns more disaster at the next turn. If in the face of the same failure you declare benefit, the mirror is forced to reorganize reality. It is forced by physical law to reorganize reality so that the event serves you. You are the one who puts the price tag on events. Vadim Zeland. What the caterpillar calls the end of the world, the master calls a butterfly. Chaos precedes order. Destruction precedes creation. If your life is falling apart, rejoice, room is being made. Space is being made for something that did not fit in your old life. Hermetic wisdom. You have applied the bullfighter's tactic. You have tried to dodge the pendulum, but sometimes life is fast and brutal. The bull has caught you. You have been fired. Your partner has left you. You have lost an investment. You have broken a leg. You are on the ground, bleeding, full of dust and pain. The pendulum looms over you, waiting for its final feast. It expects you to complain. It expects you to cry. It expects you to say, "Why me? Such bad luck. My life sucks." If you pronounce those words, you have signed your sentence. You have accepted the negative lifeline. You have entered the downward spiral, where one problem calls for another problem and the pit has no bottom. But you, traveler, have a secret weapon hidden up your sleeve, a weapon that the pendulum does not expect. From the ground, with your mouth full of blood, you smile and say, "This is good, this is very good, this is exactly what I needed." The pendulum freezes. The script is broken. The energy of the blow, instead of destroying you, begins to spin in the opposite direction. You have activated the reversal of the current. Today we are going to learn the art of quantum alchemy. How to turn the lead of failure into the gold of success, not as a poetic metaphor, but as reality engineering. The bifurcation point, the crossroads. To understand this power, you must visualize time not as a straight line, but as a tree with infinite branches. Every event in your life is a node or bifurcation point. A neutral event occurs. You miss the train. In that millisecond, two paths open. The path of the victim. You get angry, you insult, you get stressed, your vibration drops. In that state, you attract more problems. You arrive late, you fight with the boss, your head hurts. You have chosen the rotten branch. The path of the alchemist. You accept the fact. You say, "There must be a reason." You relax, you take the opportunity to read or have a coffee. In that state, your vibration rises. You meet someone interesting on the next train, or you avoid an accident that happened on the previous train. You have chosen the flowering branch. The event, missing the train, is the same. The future result depends 100% on your immediate reaction. Most people react on negative autopilot. They have the habit of labeling everything unexpected as bad. The master trains the inverse habit. They label everything unexpected as interesting or potentially good. By doing so, you force the universe to move you to the lifeline where that event actually turns out to be good. It is a self-fulfilling prophecy. 2. The labyrinth of the mind. The blindness of the intellect. Why is it so hard for us to see the good in the bad? Because we use the intellect to judge. And the intellect is blind, short-sighted, and arrogant. The intellect only sees one step ahead. It sees the immediate obstacle. I got fired. I have no money. I'm going to die. That is the linear logic of the ego. The soul, or the space of variations, sees the full map. It sees the entire labyrinth from above. The soul knows that that job was slowly killing you, and that, in order for you to find your true vocation, where you will earn triple, you first had to get out of there. Since you wouldn't leave out of fear, the universe pushed you. It was an act of love disguised as aggression, but your mind screams disaster. If you listen to the mind and get depressed, you block the arrival of the new job, you stay unemployed and crying, you turn the gift into a curse. You must understand that you do not know what is good for you. Your limited mind does not have enough data to judge. How many times in your life has something that seemed terrible, a breakup, turned out to be the best thing that happened to you years later? The reversal of the current consists of admitting your ignorance and trusting the superior intelligence of the flow. It seems bad, but since I don't see the future, I choose to believe it is a detour towards something better. THIS the alchemist's formula, coordination of intention. Vadim Zeland calls this the coordination of intention. It is an active technique. It is not waiting to see what happens. It is decreeing. The formula. In the face of any setback, small or large, from dropping a piece of toast to your company going bankrupt, immediately apply this mental algorithm. Stop. Halt the automatic reaction of anger, fear. Breathe. Declaration. Say mentally or out loud, "Great, this plays in my favor." Search. Ask yourself, what hidden advantage could this have? Even if you don't see it at the moment, the question opens the door. Action. Act calmly according to the new premise. Example. An important appointment is cancelled. Normal reaction. Crap, I've wasted my time. You generate negative energy, the pendulum eats, your day is ruined. Inverted reaction. Genial, this plays in my favor. Now I have 2 free hours I didn't expect. I'm going to use them to rest or advance my personal project. By declaring this plays in my favor, you are giving an order to the fabric of reality. You are changing the polarity of the event. The universe is literal. If you say it is good, the universe will start moving strings, synchronicities, to prove you are right. You will turn the failure into a springboard. For the principle of the current, swimming downstream. Imagine you are in a boat on a fast river. You want to go to a specific point on the shore, your goal, but the current carries you somewhere else. The average human starts rowing frantically against the current. They exhaust themselves. They hit the rocks, they scream, they suffer, and in the end the current drags them anyway. The transurfer, the navigator of the pendulum, does something different. They drop the oars. They trust that the current of variations, the Tao, always seeks the path of least resistance and greatest efficiency. If the current diverts you, it is because A. There is a deadly waterfall further ahead on your original route. B. There is a better and richer port on the new route. The reversal of the current is to stop rowing against events. If the car won't start, don't force it. Take the bus. Perhaps on the bus you meet the love of your life, or perhaps the car was going to have an accident on the highway. You don't know. But if you accept the detour with joy, you stay on the line of luck. Luck is not chance. It is the ability to flow with changes in direction without resistance. The universe is a smart GPS. If you deviate, it recalculates the route. Stop fighting with the GPS. V. The gift, wrapped in sandpaper. Most of the universe's blessings come wrapped in sandpaper. They scratch. They hurt at first. The pendulum of crisis hits you. You are kicked out of your comfort zone. At that moment, it hurts. But the pain is necessary to break the shell of your stagnation. The chick has to break the egg, painful to be born. If someone opens the egg from the outside, it dies. You have to break your old structures. The reversal of the current allows you to see the sandpaper as part of the gift. It allows you to say, "Thank you for this pain, because it is waking me up." Steve Jobs was fired from his own company, Apple. It was humiliating. He later said it was the best thing that could have happened to him. The bitter medicine forced him to be creative again, found Pixar, and returned triumphantly. If he had stayed home crying and hating, feeding the pendulum of grudge, he would have dried up and died. He applied the reversal. He used the energy of the blow to propel himself. Farsi, the amortization of karma, paying the debt. There is another mystical view of failure that helps in accepting it. Sometimes a negative event is simply a payment. You have made mistakes in the past. You have generated imbalances. You have accumulated karma or excessive potential. That energy must be balanced. When a misfortune happens to you, you lose your wallet, you hit your toe, you get a fine. The universe is collecting the debt. Rejoice. The debt has been settled. If you react with anger, it's unfair. You are getting into debt again. You are generating new negativity. If you react with acceptance, fine, it's paid, thanks for charging me cheap. You close the karmic cycle. You free yourself. Consider small daily problems as energetic taxes. A glass breaks. Tax paid. Thanks. You lose 20 euros. Tax paid. May it serve to clear my path of greater problems. This attitude is magical. You feel light. You stop seeing the world as an enemy and see it as an efficient accountant who sometimes passes you a small bill to save you from a large bankruptcy. Sir, the complaint trap, the black spell. The opposite of reversal is the complaint. Complaining is the most common form of self-inflicted black magic. When you complain, you are decreeing, "I am a victim. The world is bad. I deserve to suffer." Every complaint is a brick you put in the wall of your own prison. Furthermore, complaining is the favorite food of minor pendulums, emotional vampires. If you complain, complaining people will come to you. You will form a complaint club where you suck each other's energy until you are dry. Complaining anchors you in the negative lifeline. It prevents you from seeing the exit door. Radical rule, forbidden to complain for 21 days. If something bad happens to you, shut up or look for the solution, but do not emit the groan. You will see how your energy skyrockets. By not complaining, you force your mind to look for the advantage, the reversal. Instead of "what a miserable rain," you say "good. The plants needed water, and I will take the opportunity to write. You change the frame. You change reality. Fate? Strategic optimism versus naive positivity. Be careful not to confuse this with being happily deluded. Naive positivity, cheap New Age, denies reality. My house is burning, but I am happy. Everything is light and love. That is stupidity and denial. Strategic optimism, Transurfing, Stoicism, accepts reality and uses it. My house is burning. It's a disaster. Fine, I am alive. I have insurance. I'm going to use the insurance money to build a better house than the old one, which already had leaks. I'm going to take advantage of the fire to burn my old junk and start fresh as a minimalist. You don't deny the fire. You deny the fire's right to ruin your life. You use the fire. It is a warrior's attitude, not a hippie's. It is aggressive. It is taking control of the narrative. You hit me, pendulum, and I use your blow to make myself stronger. Just real-time practice, the training. Do not wait for the great tragedy to practice. Train with the small things. The universe sends you constant trainers. Trainer 1. The waiter who takes forever to bring the check. Inverted reaction. Perfect. Extra time to chat with my partner or observe people. I'm in no rush. The world stops for me. Trainer 2. The weather. It rains on the day of your barbecue. Inverted reaction. Great. We'll have the party inside. It will be more intimate and cozy. Or we'll go to a restaurant and save ourselves the cooking and cleaning. Trainer 3. A criticism on social media. Inverted reaction. Good. If they criticize me, it means I am visible. I am making an impact. Besides, this criticism gives me an idea to improve my product. Thanks, hater. You are my free consultant. If you manage to invert these small daily annoyances, you will create a powerful mental muscle. When the big hit comes, a divorce, a bankruptcy, your automatic reflex will not be collapse but reversal. You will say, "This is the start of my new and better life," and you will be right. Text the Midas touch, everything is gold. The legend of King Midas said that everything he touched turned to gold. You can be Midas. Your touch is your intentional attention. If you touch a misfortune with the intention of, "This is a benefit," you alchemize it. You turn it into gold. There is no waste in the magician's universe. Manure serves to fertilize the roses. Pain serves to write the best poems. Failure serves to build the character of the leader. Stop classifying your life into good events and bad events. Classify them into pleasant events and useful events. The pleasant is enjoyed. The unpleasant is used. Nothing is thrown away. This is supreme freedom. You no longer fear the future because you know that whatever comes, you have the technology to turn it into fuel. You are an engine that runs on anything. If they give you flowers, you run. If they give you trash, you run. You are unstoppable. Chapter 7. The Breath of Money, Economic Cycles. Money is like air. If you try to hold it in your lungs for fear of running out, you suffocate, stinginess and a blockage. If you try to inhale it too quickly without exhaling, you hyperventilate and get dizzy, greed, bubble. Wealth is not static accumulation. It is the speed of circulation. The rich man is not the one with the biggest tank, but the one with the widest and cleanest pipe through which money flows in and out without resistance. Flow principle. Buy when the cannons sound. Sell when the trumpets sound. The market pendulum feeds on the panic of the poor and the euphoria of the ignorant. The master stands in the center, buying the fear of others at a discount and selling the hope of others at the price of gold. Nathan Rothschild. Adaptation. Let's talk about the blood of the system. Let's talk about the energy that allows you to eat, have a roof, and move through the physical world. Let's talk about money. Most people have a neurotic, toxic, and dysfunctional relationship with money. They hate it and desire it at the same time. They believe it is dirty, but they kill for it. They believe it is scarce, but they live in a universe of infinite abundance. This neurosis is not accidental. It is induced. The money pendulum is the most powerful on earth because it connects to our most basic survival instinct. It keeps us violently oscillating between two poles, the panic of poverty, left, and speculative greed, right. While you oscillate, you are a slave. You work out of fear, you spend out of anxiety, you go into debt out of impatience. You are never at peace. Today we are going to learn the breath of money. We are going to understand that the economy is not a straight line of growth, but a living organism that inhales and exhales. If you learn to synchronize your breathing with that of the market, you will stop drowning. You will stop swimming against the current. You will become a channel of prosperity, a current and stagnation, the etymology of flow. Look at the word currency. It comes from the Latin currere, to run, to flow. It is the same as a current of water or an electric current. Money, by definition, must move. Stagnant money rots, just like stagnant water. Inflation is the natural mechanism of the pendulum to punish stagnation. Still, money loses value. The number one error of the poverty mentality is stagnation through fear. You are afraid of the future, so you hold your money with a closed fist. I don't spend. I don't invest. I keep it under the mattress. Energetically, you have stopped breathing. You have held your breath. By closing your fist so nothing leaves, you have closed it to entry. You have created a blockage in the pipe. The universe, which is flow, stops sending you energy because it sees that at your node, the energy stops. To receive more, you must be willing to let go. You must trust that air will come back in after it goes out. Pure inhalation and exhalation, the sacred technique. A healthy personal economy is a respiratory cycle. Inhalation, earning, receiving. This is the moment to accept abundance. Many have inhalation blocked by guilt. I don't deserve it. The rich are evil. If you feel guilty when getting paid, you close your throat. Money does not enter. You must open yourself to receive with gratitude and dignity. Inhale deeply. Say, I deserve this because I provide value. Exhalation, spending, investing. This is the moment to release energy so it circulates. Here is where most fail. They exhale with pain. Every time you pay a bill, rent, or coffee, you feel a sting. My money is going. I am left with less. That pain is a sign of scarcity. You are charging the outgoing money with a negative vibration. That money, charged with fear, will not return to you, or it will return as medical bills. The technique of blessed spending. Change your exhalation. Starting today, every time you pay for something, even a fine or a tax, do it with a sense of power and gratitude. Mentally say, I pay this with joy because I have plenty. This money blesses the receiver and returns to me multiplied by 10. Feel the pleasure of having the capacity to pay. Feel that you are watering the garden of the economy. By spending with joy, you tell the universe, I am rich, I am not afraid. The flow continues. And the universe responds to that frequency by sending you more flow. Exhale with confidence, and the next inhalation will be deeper. 30 market cycles, the tide. The global economy pendulum also breathes. It has cycles of expansion, summer bull, and contraction, winter bear. Expansion. Everything goes up. Credit is cheap. People buy houses, cars, and cryptocurrencies. There is euphoria. The pendulum is on the right. Contraction. Everything goes down. Credit is cut. Companies go bankrupt. Unemployment rises. There is panic. The pendulum is on the left. The mass man, asleep, does the opposite of what he should. In euphoria, he becomes greedy and buys high, because everyone is buying. He goes into debt thinking the party will never end. In panic, he gets scared and sells cheap because everyone is selling. He hides. The transurfer, awake, observes the pendulum with coldness. He knows that winter, sails. When the market collapses, the transurfer does not see crisis. He sees January sales. Real assets, houses, stocks, gold, change hands. They pass from weak hands, fearful, to strong hands, patient. Wealth is not destroyed in a crisis, it is transferred. If you want to be rich, you must learn to have liquidity and calm when everyone else is losing their heads. You must wait for the pendulum to reach the far left to pick up the fruits others threw away. IV, the debt trap, energy of the future. Debt is a dangerous tool of the pendulum. Metaphysically, debt is bringing energy from the future into the present. You are consuming today the energy, money, you will generate tomorrow. This creates a vacuum in your future. It creates a rope tied to your neck that drags you forward. If you go into debt to buy liabilities, things that lose value, luxury cars, vacations, clothes, weddings, you are selling your future freedom for a momentary pleasure. The bank pendulum feeds on your interest. Interest is the price of your impatience. You live in the past, paying for what you enjoyed and have no energy now. If you go into debt to buy assets, things that put money in your pocket, a business, real estate to rent, you are using leverage. You are using the bank pendulum's energy to propel yourself. This is financial judo, but it requires mastery. If you fail, the pendulum crushes you. Golden rule: never go into debt for consumption, only for investment. If you cannot pay for it in cash, you cannot afford it energetically. Wait, accumulate, inhale before exhaling. The financial thermostat, your level of deservingness. Why do lottery winners lose everything in 5 years? Because their financial thermostat was set to poor. The pendulum gave them a stroke of luck, excess potential, but their internal structure could not sustain that energy load. Their subconscious screamed, "Danger, this is too much, I am not worthy, and they sabotaged their wealth until returning to their comfort level, scarcity. You have a thermostat. How much money do you feel comfortable having in your account? If you have an extra 1,000, do you feel the urge to spend it immediately because it burns? That urge is your thermostat expelling excess energy. To raise your wealth, you don't need to work harder, that's physical. You need to raise your thermostat, that's mental. You must get used to the feeling of having surplus money. Exercise. Carry a high-value bill, 100, 200, 500 in your wallet. Do not spend it, just carry it. Feel its presence. Get used to knowing you could spend it at any moment. That eliminates scarcity anxiety. It makes you vibrate in I have. Over time, your subconscious accepts that having money is safe and normal. The thermostat goes up, and the exterior reality adjusts to fill the new level. Firstly, scarcity versus abundance mentality. The poverty pendulum feeds on a root belief: the pie is finite. You believe that if another wins, you lose. You believe money is limited. This generates envy, fierce competition, and fear. If you see someone in a luxury car and feel envy, you are affirming, "That is not for me. Money is evil." You are building a concrete wall between you and wealth. The wealth pendulum operates on the belief, the pie is infinite. Money is printed every day. Value is created from nothing with ideas. If another wins, it is proof that one can win. Bless the rich. If you see luxury, say, "That is for me too. Thank you for showing me the universe's catalogue." Rejoice in others' success. If you rejoice, you tune into that frequency. If you become bitter, you tune into lack. Remember, money has no morals. It goes to those who invite it with joy and treat it with respect. Service diversification, not putting all eggs. The pendulum is treacherous. If you depend on a single source of income, a job, a client, a business, you are in a position of extreme fragility. You are hanging by a single thread. If that pendulum decides to let you go, firing, bankruptcy, you fall into the void. The law of the pendulum requires diversification. Create multiple flows. Have a job, yes, but also have a small investment, a side project, savings in another currency. Build a table with 4 legs, not a one-legged stool. If one leg breaks, the table does not fall. You have time to repair it. This gives you peace of mind. And peace of mind is the frequency that attracts the most money. Money flees from the desperate and runs toward the calm. The less you need that job, the more they will value you in it, because they will feel your energetic sovereignty. Fate, the price of fear selling the soul. How much does your peace cost? Many people sell their lives for a secure salary. They tie themselves to a corporate pendulum they hate, endure toxic bosses and slave schedules just for the fear of uncertainty. The pendulum gives them crumbs of security in exchange for their full vital energy. It is a bad deal. Security is an illusion. A fixed job can disappear tomorrow. The only real security is your capacity to generate value, your ability to solve problems, your creativity, your network. Do not seek security, stagnation. Seek freedom, movement. Sometimes to earn more, you have to jump into the void. You have to let go of the secure vine to grab the next one. In that instant of flight, you feel terror. But in that instant, you are alive. And the universe usually provides a net for the brave. The fortune pendulum favors the bold, not the timid. Calculate the risk, yes, but do not let the fear of risk paralyze you. Jazzy generosity as a strategy, opening the tap. There is a final paradox. If you want to receive a lot, you have to give a lot. The stingy person stops the flow. The generous person accelerates it. Giving a tithe or donating a percentage is not a religious rule to save the soul. It is a hydraulic law. When you give money without expecting anything in return, to a cause, a friend, a stranger, you are declaring to the universe, I have so much that I can give away. I am a source, not a drain. You are breaking the scarcity mentality with a hammer blow. That signal of abundance is so potent that it forces the pendulum to send you more resources to refill the vacuum you created by giving. Vacuum sucks. Give with joy. Treat your friends to dinner. Leave good tips. Do not do it to be a good person. Do it for financial intelligence. You are greasing the pump of your prosperity. Chapter 8. The War of the Sexes, Polarity in Relationships. Love is the child of freedom, never of dominance. At the moment you try to possess a person, you kill them. You kill the spontaneity that made you fall in love. You create a prison. And in a prison, the prisoner only dreams of one thing: to escape. The relationship pendulum feeds on two things: your fear of losing the other and your desire to change them. Osho, Adaptation. I love you, but I don't need you. That is the only true declaration of love. If I need you, I will use you. If I need you, I will control you. If I need you, I will hate you when you don't give me what I want. Only if I don't need you can I see you as you are and love you for who you are, not for what you do for me. Anthony DeMello. They've sold you the Hollywood script, boy meets girl. They fall in love. They merge. They become one. And they live happily ever after. The reality, however, is more like a battlefield or a mental asylum. At the beginning, it's all fire and roses, the upswing phase of the pendulum. But inevitably, something changes. One begins to demand more attention. The other begins to feel overwhelmed and moves away. The one who demands gets scared and pursues. The one who moves away feels smothered and flees faster. The dynamics of the hunter and the prey are activated. Jealousy, control, drama, shouting, and punishing silence settle in. You ask yourself, why is the person I love the most the one who makes me suffer the most? It's not bad luck. It's pendulum physics. A relationship is not just two people, it is a third entity. It is a shared pendulum that you have created between the two of you. If you don't know how to handle the energy of this pendulum, it will handle you. It will feed on your passion at the beginning and on your hate at the end. Today, we are going to learn how to love without being devoured. We are going to destroy the myth of the better half to build the reality of two whole oranges. The fusion trap, the myth of the better half. The original error is believing that you are a half looking for another half to complete yourself. Energetically, this is a disaster. If you feel incomplete, vibration of lack, you will attract another person who also feels incomplete. Two beggars cannot build an empire, they can only share their misery. When two empty people get together, they create an addiction. At first, it feels good, you fill me. But soon, that dependency becomes toxic. If you are not here, I die. This is not romanticism, it is parasitism. You have created a brutal, excessive potential over the other person. You have turned them into your God, your source of happiness, your reason for living. And as we saw in Chapter 3, the universe destroys any idol you put on a pedestal. The law of equilibrium will force your partner to fail you, cheat on you, or leave, simply to break that excessive tension and force you to find your own center. No one can bear the weight of being your God. It is too much work. Oh, the elastic band dynamic, pursuer and distancer. Imagine that between you and your partner, there is an elastic band. For there to be sexual tension and attraction, the band must be taut a certain distance. If you, out of fear, attachment, or anxiety, take 3 steps toward your partner to merge, the band slackens. The tension disappears, the attraction dies. Your partner, instinctively, will take 3 steps back to recover the tension, their space. You interpret that step back as a lack of love. You get scared. You take another 3 steps forward. What's wrong? Why are you being cold? The band slackens again. Your partner takes another 3 steps back or flees the building. This is the death dance of modern relationships. 1. The pursuer, the needy, usually has an abandonment wound, vibrates in anxiety, suffocates. 2. The distancer, the avoidant, usually has an invasion wound, vibrates in overwhelm, needs space, withdraws. The pendulum feeds on this race. The more you pursue, the more the other runs. It is physical law. The only way to stop the dynamic is not for the distancer to stop. They won't as long as you pursue. It is for the pursuer to stop pursuing. If you stop and take a step back, center yourself, the band tightens again. The distancer feels the change in energy. They feel you are no longer sucking them. They feel curious, and by the law of the elastic, they feel forced to move closer to you. The secret to attracting is not running after, but staying still in your sovereignty and shining. 3. The paradox of passion, the challenge. Why do bad boys or femmes fatales attract so much, and nice guys, girls are boring? It's not masochism, it's autonomy. The bad boy, archetypally, does not need the partner's approval. He has his mission, his life, his selfishness. That projects a high-value signal. I am the prize, you have to earn my attention. You. The nice guy, the complacent woman, projects a low-value signal. I am available 24/7, I do whatever you want, I have no life of my own, you are the prize. The attraction pendulum despises what is easy. What is free has no value. If you give away your energy, time and body without asking for anything, the market devalues you. To keep passion alive, you must maintain your individuality. You must have an exciting life outside the relationship. You must be able to say no without fear of losing the other. A yes only has value if there is a real possibility of a no. Passion is born from admiration. You cannot admire someone who crawls at your feet. Be a challenge, not a doormat. Vampirism in bed, sexual exchange. Sex is not just the friction of skin. It is a fusion of auric fields. During orgasm, the pranic tubes open and mix. A massive exchange of karmic information occurs. If you sleep with someone who is depressed, full of hate, addicted, or energetically dirty, you are downloading their garbage into your system. The next day you feel sad, tired, or dirty, and you don't know why. You have absorbed their pendulums. The pendulum of casual sex, without connection or respect, is a great drain. It feeds on empty lust. It leaves you dry. Conscious sex, sexual alchemy, is the opposite. It is a nuclear battery. Two people who love and respect each other, by uniting, create a joint toroidal field that elevates the vibration of both. They heal each other. Golden rule. Do not sleep with anyone you would not want to be. If you do not admire their energy, do not let them enter your temple. Celibacy is preferable to contamination. Jealousy and control, fear disguised as love. Jealousy is not a proof of love. It is a proof of insecurity and possession. The jealousy pendulum whispers, if you don't control them, they will cheat. If they look at another, you are worth nothing. This is the wounded ego screaming. When you try to control your partner, you are squeezing sand in your fist. The more you squeeze, the more sand escapes. Prohibition creates desire. By forbidding something, you give it importance. You create an excessive potential. You make the forbidden fruit irresistible. The transurfer applies radical trust. I choose you. You are free. If you betray my trust, it's your loss, not mine. I will still be worth the same. But if you stay, I want it to be because you choose me every day in freedom, not because I have you chained. That attitude is disarming. No one wants to flee an open cage. Freedom is the only glue that works in the long term. Pronounce the breakup withdrawal syndrome. When a relationship breaks, the pendulum breaks. The pain you feel is not just love, it is withdrawal syndrome. Your brain was addicted to the emotional peptides that person generated. The shared pendulum has died and is trying to survive by sucking your last drop of energy through nostalgia, guilt, and stalking. Emergency protocol for breakups. 1-0 contact. It's not spite, it's hygiene. You need to cut the power cable so the pendulum starves. 2. Energy recovery. Visualize recovering all the energy you left in that person. 3. Massive occupation. The vacuum must be filled with action. If you don't fill it, depression will. Do not idealize. The nostalgia pendulum only shows you the good times. Trap. Make a written list of the bad times and read it when you feel like calling. Break the hallucination. Self-to femininity and masculinity, the dance of polarities. We live in an era of role confusion. The gender ideology pendulum tries to erase biological and energetic polarities, but attraction requires polarity. North Pole and South Pole attract. North and North repel. 1. Masculine energy, yang. Direction, purpose, structure, protection. 2. Feminine energy, yin. Flow, reception, intuition. We all have both, but in a couple, for there to be a spark, there must be a play of opposites. If the woman is always in her masculine energy, controlling, and the man is in his feminine, passive, complacent, sexual attraction dies. They become friends or mother-son. To regain passion, you often have to repolarize. The man must regain his purpose. Stop asking for permission, lead his own life, be a stable mountain. The woman must regain her surrender, trust, release control, allow herself to be vulnerable and receptive, be the ocean that dances around the mountain. When each occupies their throne, the magic returns. AP, the mirror. Your partner is your teacher. Your partner is not there to make you happy. They are there to make you conscious. They are the most relentless mirror that exists. Everything that bothers you about your partner is something you have not resolved in yourself. Do they bother you for being selfish? Review where you are not attending to yourself. Does it bother you that they are weak? Review where you're being too hard on yourself. Does it bother you that they ignore you? Review where you are ignoring yourself. The relationship pendulum forces you to see your shadow. Instead of trying to change the reflection in the mirror, your partner, wash your face, change yourself. If you change, the reflection has to change. Either your partner transforms to match your new vibration, or the relationship ends because there is no longer resonance and someone new appears who does fit with your new self. Ties to conscious love, the third way. So how does the pendulum master love? They love from completeness. They no longer look for someone to plug their emotional holes. They have already plugged them themselves. They look for a playmate, someone with whom to share abundance, not someone from whom to steal energy. Conscious love says, I am whole. You are whole. We are going to walk together looking in the same direction. If you fall, I help you up, but I don't carry you. If I fall, you help me, but you don't drag me. I respect your mystery. Your freedom is my guarantee that your love is real. In this state, the relationship pendulum is gentle. It oscillates, yes, there are better and worse days, but it does not destroy. It is a synchronized dance. It is the state where 1 + 1 = 3. You plus me plus the field of love we create. Chapter 9. The 0 point, the motionless observer. At the center of the cyclone, there is a point of absolute calm. The wind roars at 300 km/h, destroying houses and uprooting trees on the periphery. But in the eye, the sky is blue, birds fly, and the air is still. The fool runs through the periphery trying to stop the wind. The wise man walks to the center and sits. From there he sees the destruction, but he is not touched by it. Lao Tzu, the Tao of Chaos. Seek the kingdom, the center, and all other things will be added unto you. You cannot organize your life from the outside, because outside there are only effects. You must organize it from within, where the causes reside. The 0 point is the place where the pendulum hangs from heaven. There is no oscillation there. There is only potential power, advanced metaphysics. You have learned to identify the vampires. You have learned to dodge their blows. You have learned to turn their attacks into gold. But there is still a problem. You are still on the battlefield. You still get tired. You still have to be alert to apply the techniques. Does a place exist where the battle ends? Does a state of consciousness exist where pendulums don't even see you? Yes, the 0 point exists. It is the state of no mind, the state of the witness, the It is the exact geometric place where duality is cancelled, neither good nor bad, neither light nor shadow, neither desire nor fear. It is the axis of the wheel. The wheel of life, samsara, spins frantically, raising and lowering people, grinding destinies. But the axis does not spin. The axis holds the spin without moving. If you manage to shift your consciousness from the tire, emotional periphery, to the axis, spiritual center, the dizziness disappears. You stop being the character in the movie and become the spectator eating popcorn while the world burns. Today we are going to learn how to wake up within the dream, in the quom. Where the machines dream, the hypnosis. To understand the 0 point, you must first understand where you are now. You are asleep. Although your eyes are open, you walk and talk. Your consciousness is asleep 99% of the day. You operate on autopilot. The alarm clock rings. You complain, script 1. Someone insults you. You get angry, script 2. You see a pretty girl. You feel desire, script 3. You see a sad news item. You feel fear, script 4. You are a stimulus response machine. Pendulums love machines. They are predictable. They are easy to milk. They know exactly which button to press, so you release energy. Living on the periphery is living by reacting. He did this to me. The government said the economy went down. Everything is external. You are a dry leaf swept by the wind of events. The 0 point is the moment the machine realizes it is a machine. It is the spark of lucidity. Wait, I am reacting. I am feeling anger because this pendulum wants me to feel anger. But I am not this anger. In that microsecond of separation you wake up. You have stopped being the program and have become the programmer. THIS, the geometry of the axis, physics of calm. Visualize a giant physical pendulum. The metal ball below moves at high speed, covering meters of distance from one side to the other. If you get in its way, it kills you. But look up. Look at the rod. The further you climb up the rod, the less distance the metal covers. The movement is slower. And if you reach the exact point where the rod is anchored to the support, the pivot, there is no lateral displacement. There is only a slight rotation. There is no centrifugal force to expel you. The 0 point is climbing up your own energetic spine. It is to stop living in visceral emotions, solar plexus on lower belly. It is to raise consciousness to the third eye or the high heart. From that height, you see the problems, but they look small. Ah, look, down there on the ground I have lost money. How interesting. The self-character is worried, but observer me is calm. This dissociation is not madness, it is mastery. It does not mean you don't care about things, you take care of them, but you do not identify with them. You are the actor playing Hamlet. You cry on stage, scream, and suffer. But a part of your brain knows that at 10 p.m. the curtain will fall and you will go to dinner. That part that knows this is a play is your 0 point. Third, the silent witness, Sakshi. In Vedanta philosophy, it is called Sakshi, the witness. You are not your thoughts, you are the one who listens to the thoughts. You are not your emotions, you are the one who feels the emotions. You are not your body, you are the one who uses the body. Take the test right now. Ask yourself, who is reading this? Your mind will say, I, your name. But who is aware that the mind has said that? There is a presence behind the voice. A mute, dark, infinite consciousness. That is the motionless observer. That observer was never born and will never die. That observer has never been hurt. No pendulum can touch it. Suffering occurs only when the observer forgets itself and believes it is the character in the movie. Pain is inevitable, physical. Suffering is optional, mental. The 0 point is the refuge where pain cannot enter. When you anchor yourself in the witness, the pendulums lose their power. They try to hook you, but they find no Velcro. The witness is smooth as a mirror. Everything slides off. Face inner dialogue, the noise of the world. What prevents you from being in the 0 point all the time? The noise. Your mind is an old radio that never turns off. Inner dialogue is the mechanism that sustains the reality of the pendulum. You constantly repeat to yourself who you are, what problems you have, who you dislike. and what you have to do tomorrow. This narrative loop consumes 90% of your free energy. It is the rope that ties you to the pendulum. If you stop telling yourself you are sad, are you still sad? Surprisingly, sadness loses consistency. Without the narrative, poor me, nobody loves me, sadness becomes a simple physical sensation in the chest, neutral and fleeting. To enter the 0 point, you must stop the world. You must turn off the radio, not by fighting thoughts, that is more noise, but by ignoring them. Centering your attention on the now. Look at your hand. Do not think it is a hand. Just look at the shape, the light, the texture, without words. In that moment of pure gaze, the dialogue stops. The pendulum stops. Time stops. You are on the axis. The more moments of inner silence you accumulate during the day, the more personal power you will have. The energy you used to spend worrying now accumulates in your central battery. You become brilliant and magnetic. Impeccability. Action without attachment. Many believe that the motionless observer is passive, that he sits to meditate and does nothing. False. The observer is the most effective warrior. He acts from impeccability. Impeccability is doing the best you can without attachment to the result. The pendulum catches you through the desire for a result. I need to win. The observer acts for the pleasure of the action. I am going to play my best game. Imagine an archer. If he is thinking about the tournament prize, his hand trembles. Importance, pendulum. If he is thinking about, I am the best archer, he gets distracted. Ego, pendulum. The master archer enters 0 point. There is no I. There is no prize. There is only breath, bow, tension, and arrow. He becomes the shot. The arrow flies on its own, and it almost always hits the bullseye. Why? Because there was no mental resistance interfering with the biomechanics of the shot. Living in 0 point is living in flow. You work hard, love strong, create art, but you don't care what happens next. If the book sells, fine. If not, fine. You have already succeeded by writing it from the center. This attitude makes you invulnerable to failure. You cannot fail if you do not need to win. The delayed mirror, the law of delay. Vadim Zeland teaches us that reality is a dual mirror. On one side is the image, your thoughts, attitude. On the other side is the reflection, physical reality. But this mirror has a technical peculiarity. It has delay. Matter is dense and slow. Thought is fast. When you change your attitude, you enter 0 point, reality does not change instantly. It takes a while, days, weeks, to reorganize. Here is where most fail. They put themselves in 0 point for one day. They smile. They are calm. They look at the mirror of reality and see that everything is still just as bad. They scream, "This doesn't work," and they react with anger again. They break the mirror. The master knows how to wait. He knows that the reflection comes with a delay. He stays in the 0 point, firm, smiling at a mirror that still shows an ugly image. He says, "I know the old image is just the echo of the past. My new reality is on its way." If you maintain the internal image, peace, abundance, long enough, the mirror must reflect it. It is physical law. The 0 point is the infinite patience of the one who knows the harvest is inevitable. 7. Dynamic equilibrium, the tightrope walker. Being in the center is not being frozen. It is being in dynamic equilibrium, like a tightrope walker on a wire. The tightrope walker is not still. He is making constant micro-corrections. He leans a little to the left, corrects to the right, but his center of gravity is always aligned with the rope. In your life, the pendulums will push you. You will have a bad day, you will get angry, you will lose your center. Do not judge yourself. Judging yourself is another pendulum, guilt. Simply realize, oops, I fell. I went to the periphery, and return. The art is not never falling. The art is reducing recovery time. Before you would get angry and it would last 3 days. Now you get angry, you realize, you breathe, and in 3 minutes you are back in the 0 point. You have gained 2 days and 23 hours of life. That is spiritual success. The speed with which you return to your center determines the quality of your life. In the fertile void, the matrix, the 0 point seems empty, but it is fullness. It is the fertile void of the Tao. When you are full of your own problems, noises, and opinions, God does not fit in you. When you empty yourself, 0 point, you become a clean channel. Intuition, Chapter 8, only works in the 0 point. Creativity only works in the 0 point. $1,000,000 ideas do not come from stress. They come from the silence between two thoughts. Pendulums hate the void because they cannot grab it, but the universe loves the void because it can fill it. If you have an insoluble problem, do not think about it anymore. That feeds the pendulum of the problem. Enter 0 point. Stop thinking about it. Surrender. In that silence, the solution will appear. It will not be a logical deduction. It will be a revelation. It was this. The solution was waiting for you to shut up. Zeite, the drop technique, how to reset. How do we enter 0 point in the middle of a real crisis? Imagine you are in a heated argument with your partner. The pendulum is red hot. Use the drop technique. Physical, release muscular tension. Relax the jaw, the shoulders, and the belly. The tense body feeds the pendulum. Breathing. Do a long and audible exhalation through the mouth. Empty yourself of air. Stay in the void, without air, for a few seconds. Step back. Visualize that you take a step back outside your body. Look at yourself and the other person from the ceiling. Ask yourself, how important will this be in 5 years? In 10 seconds, you have cut the energy supply. You have gone from dramatic actor to stage director. From there, you can decide, do I continue arguing because it is useful, or do I shut up and give them a hug? You decide from intelligence, not from the program. Chapter 10. The Quantum Surfer, Creating the Wave. The world is like a giant mirror. It reflects your attitude towards it. If you are in struggle, the world struggles against you. If you surrender, the world crushes you. But if you decide to play and choose, the world becomes clay in your hands. You don't have to change the world. That is impossible and exhausting. You have to change the film you project in the mirror, and the reflection will change on its own. The surfer does not fight the ocean. He uses it. Vadim Zeland, Transurfing. For verily I say unto you, that whosoever shall say unto this mountain, Be thou removed, and be thou cast into the sea, and shall not doubt in his heart, but shall believe that those things which he saith shall come to pass, he shall have whatsoever he saith. Therefore I say unto you, what things soever ye desire, when ye pray, believe that ye receive them, and ye shall have them. Mark 11:23-24. Traveller, we have come a long way. We began as victims, beaten by the tides of fate, bled dry by energy vampires, trapped in guilt and fear. We learned to dodge the blows, Bullfighter. We learned to turn poison into medicine, Alchemist. We learned to find the silence in the chaos, 0 point. But staying at the 0 point forever is boring. Absolute peace is wonderful, but you incarnated on this physical plane to experience, to play, and to create. You did not come to be a Buddha statue in a cave. You came to be a god in motion. Now that you know how to maintain your balance, you are ready to get on the board. Look at the ocean of reality. It is full of giant waves. Some are destructive pendulums, crises, wars. Others are waves of luck, opportunities, synchronicities, love. The sleeping man is swept away by the former and does not see the latter. The quantum surfer knows that he does not create the sea, the space of variations, but he has the absolute power to choose the wave. Today we are going to learn the final technique. We are going to learn to stop fighting for life and start surfing reality. We are going to activate external intention, the space of variations, the infinite supermarket. First, the physics. Quantum physics tells us that reality is not fixed. There exists an infinite field of information where everything that can happen already exists in a latent state. It is called the space of variations. In this space, there is a variation where you are a millionaire. There is one where you are a beggar. There is one where you are healthy, and another where you are sick. They are like movie scripts stored on an infinite shelf. They are there, but they are in the dark. They are not material yet. For a script to materialize in your 3D life, it needs one thing: the light of your observation. Your consciousness is the projector. Most people always project the same horror or drama film, My life is hard and I have no money. And the universe obediently illuminates that sector of the space of variations. The surfer understands this. You don't have to create your success from scratch. You don't have to build the wave with a bucket and a spade. The wave already exists. Success already exists. You only have to tune into it. It is like a radio. You don't manufacture the music. You turn the dial until you find the station you like. Your job is not to strive. It is to choose the frequency. THIS, the wave of luck, the anti-pendulum. Have you ever had a streak where everything goes right? You find a bill, you get called for a job, you meet someone incredible, the traffic light turns green. That is not a coincidence. You have hopped onto a wave of luck. It is a cascade of favorable events in the space of variations. It works just like a pendulum, but in reverse, instead of sucking your energy, it gives it to you, it pushes you upward. How do you get on it? 1. Detection. You must be alert to the first positive sign. 2. Gratitude. Instead of ignoring it, bah, it's normal. You must celebrate it. Thank you. How lucky I am. By celebrating it, you emit the frequency of the wave. 3. Hooking. Maintain that vibration. Do not let a small later annoyance knock you off the board. If you stay in the frequency of gratitude and positive expectation, the wave of luck will take you higher and faster without effort on your part. The trick is not to get off. Do not boycott yourself with doubts. This is too good to be true. Yes, it is true. Accept it. It is your heritage. The 3, the art of choosing, not desiring. Here is the most subtle and powerful distinction in the book. The surfer does not desire. The surfer chooses. Desiring implies lack. Please, God, I hope you give me this. You create an excessive potential. Chapter 3. You generate resistance. You are in the posture of a beggar. Choosing implies certainty. It is like going to the supermarket. When you go for milk, you don't kneel in the aisle and pray, "Oh, great manager, please allow me to have milk." You don't tremble with fear in case there is no milk. You simply go, reach out your hand, take it, and pay. It is a cold, calm, and sure act. I am going to have this because I have decided to have it. That is the attitude to create your reality. Do not ask for love. Choose love. Do not ask for money. Choose prosperity. It is a silent determination to have. When you move through the world with the attitude of "this is mine," the pendulums pull away. Reality feels your authority. The universe respects the one who gives clear orders, not the one who begs for confused favors. Turn your desires into pure intention. Feel the slide visualization technique. How do we tune the frequency of the variation we want? By using a tool called the slide. It is not the classic visualization, "I imagine I have a car." It is living inside the image. Create a mental movie of your goal already fulfilled. Do not see yourself from the outside, like on a movie screen. Look through your eyes inside the scene. Feel the steering wheel of the new car in your hands. Smell the leather. Feel the breeze in your beach house. Feel the embrace of your partner. But here is the key. Do not feel hysterical euphoria. Euphoria creates excessive potential. Feel naturalness. Feel that it is normal for you to have that. It is your comfort zone. Of course I live in this house. It is my house. Put this slide in your mind several times a day. Walk down the street wearing your invisible success suit. Although physically you may be on the bus, mentally you are driving your Ferrari. At first, physical reality, the mirror, will take time to reflect it. But if you maintain the slide with persistence, without anxiety, the mirror will eventually yield. The layer of reality will dissolve and your slide will materialize. You are tricking the universe into giving you what you already believe you have. The internal intention versus external intention. There are 2 ways to get things. 1. Internal intention, brute force. It is your willpower. I'm going to break this wall with my head. It is fighting the world to get what you want. It is exhausting and limited. It is rowing against the current. 2. External intention, the magic. It is the force of the universe acting for you. The wall opens only when I approach. It is when the world reorganizes itself to fulfill your goal. The quantum surfer uses external intention. How is it activated? It is activated when your soul and your mind agree. Normally they are at odds. The mind wants money for ego. The soul wants to paint for joy. Result? Blockage. External intention does not work. But if you find a goal where your soul vibrates, yes, I love it, and your mind is convinced, yes, it is possible and logical, resonance occurs. A laser beam of unified will is generated. That beam bends reality. Impossible coincidences occur. Doors open. The right people appear. It is not a miracle, it is coherence. Look for that which makes your soul sing and convinces your mind. That is your door. First, moving with the current, the path of least resistance. How do you know if you're on the right wave? By the easiness. Society has taught us the cult of effort. If it doesn't hurt, it doesn't count. Pendulum lie. Nature does not strive. Grass does not strive to grow. The earth does not strive to spin. If it costs you a titanic effort, if you suffer, if you find constant obstacles, you have picked the wrong wave. You are trying to force someone else's door. External intention flows like water. The correct path is usually the one of least resistance. Note, it does not mean laziness. It means absence of useless friction. You can work a lot, action, but without suffering, friction. When you are on your path, you get physically tired, but you do not get energetically exhausted. You feel recharged. If you feel like you are pushing a river, stop. Drop the oars. Look at where the natural current of your life is going today. Sometimes the detour is the shortcut. Allow life to take you down paths your mind had not planned, because your mind is limited, and the space of variations is omniscient. Fear for the amalgam uniting matter and spirit. Do not fall into the trap of just visualizing and waiting on the sofa. That is sterile fantasy. You must move your feet. To surf, you first have to swim out to the wave. Physical action is the anchor. When you act toward your goal, send the resume, write the book. You are telling the universe, I am serious. You are creating a bridge through which external intention can cross into the material world. Vadim Zeland calls this the amalgam. You must fuse metaphysics, slide, choice, with physics, action, work. Visualize as if everything depended on God. Work as if everything depended on you. But work without anxiety, without importance. Work with the quiet certainty of one who knows the check is already signed and is just going to the bank to cash it. Movement dissipates doubts. When you move, you generate your own inertia, and that inertia attracts the wave. 8. The mirror principle, faith in the delay. Imagine a strange mirror. You stand in front and smile, but in the reflection your face stays serious for a minute. If you don't know how it works, you'll think, it doesn't work, I'm still serious, and you will stop smiling. The mirror, seeing you stop smiling, will continue reflecting seriousness eternally. Reality is a mirror with delay. You emit a new vibration, wealth, love. You look at your current reality and see the old vibration, bills, solitude. The surfer is not fooled by the old reflection. He knows it is a temporary illusion. It is the echo of the past. He maintains the smile, the faith, the slide in front of the empty mirror. He remains insistent, stubborn. I know you're there, I know the wealth is coming, I see it already. He waits through the latency period, and suddenly the mirror changes. Reality reorganizes. The trick is not to look back. Do not seek immediate confirmation. The confirmation is you. Faith is the ability to keep the image in the projector, even though the screen remains blank for a little while longer. Ani, the sovereign's attitude without permission. To be a creator, you must reclaim your crown. Stop asking for permission. Stop apologizing for wanting what you want. Stop feeling guilty about your desires. The universe does not judge. The universe says yes to everything you say with authority. If you say, I am an unworthy worm, the universe says yes and crushes you. If you say, I am a powerful creator, and I deserve abundance, the universe says yes and opens the vaults. Adopt the sovereign's attitude. The king does not complain about the weather. He puts on a coat or builds a roof. The king does not envy other kings. He minds his kingdom. The king does not justify himself. Walk through life with your head held high. Not with arrogance, that is ego pendulum, but with dignity, soul. Treat everyone with respect, but do not kneel before anyone, not before money, nor before the boss, nor before fear. You are the cause. The world is the effect. Remember it. Conclusion: the man who does not sway. The audio ends here. The theory has been delivered. The map is in your hands, but remember, the map is not the territory. Now it is your turn to go out there, into the real world, where pendulums are invisible, where inertia is heavy, and where the blows really hurt. It is possible that you feel a mixture of excitement and vertigo. It is normal. You have awakened from a collective hypnosis that has lasted your entire life. During these 10 chapters, we have dismantled the machinery of fate. I have shown you the hidden gears that move the human puppets. You have discovered that your chronic fatigue was not physical, but a systematic, energetic theft. You have discovered that your recurring failures were not bad luck, but excessive potentials created by your own rigidity and obsession. You have discovered that reality is a delayed mirror. It is a mirror that responds to your commands, provided you know how to give them with the coldness of a king and not with the desperation of a beggar. The goal of this book was not to make you happy in the superficial and silly sense of the word. Happiness comes and goes. It is just another oscillation of the pendulum. The goal was to make you stable. The goal was to become the man or the woman who does not sway. The world is going to continue spinning with violence. There will be new economic crises. There will be new wars. There will be new absurd fashions designed to make you feel inferior. Your friends, family, and colleagues will continue to be swept away by collective hysteria, oscillating between blind euphoria and deep depression. But you will be different. When everyone runs screaming toward one side of the ship because of a rumor, you will stay in the center looking at the horizon. You will stay there knowing that the ship will balance itself. When the pendulum tries to provoke you with insults or fears, it will find a smiling void where there used to be a wounded ego ready to fight. You will be a mystery to others. They will ask you, how can you be so calm with everything that is going on? And you will smile because you know the secret. You know that everything passes. You know that the downswing is only the momentum necessary for the next upswing. You know that you are the surfer, not the wave. I do not ask you to be perfect. You will fall. You will forget what you have learned in the heat of an argument. You will get hooked on a stupid drama. Do not punish yourself. That would be feeding the pendulum of guilt. Simply remember the 0 point. Return to the axis. Mastery does not consist of never falling, but of reducing the time it takes you to get up. Your life is no longer a series of random accidents. It is a work of conscious engineering. You have the helm. The storm may be strong, but your ship is unsinkable because it is made of pure consciousness.